This episode is proudly supported by Pepe Sayer Australian Cultured Butter, batch churned from single origin cream.
Like any good product, you have to start off with an amazing cream. Like for us, it's the raw material that matters. So where we get our cream from matters a lot. So we can't just buy your average supermarket grade cream. So you need real cream. You need basically the stuff they skim off the top of milk at a farm. And to get that product, we have to go to the farmers direct. So for us, we have to source our cream very carefully. We travel a lot to different farms to make sure that the cream we're getting is the real deal from different areas of Australia.
For more information, go to pepesayer.com.au.
It's the pleasure of being able to help the farmers. So we're really happy to be able to pick them up and help them and they help us. It's a fantastic partnership and we make sure that they're looked after because they look after us every day.
This is The Producers. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Victorian-based Aurum Poultry are specialists that focus on producing the finest chicken, cockerel, ducks and game birds for avid cooks who appreciate the flavours and textures of traditionally raised birds. And according to Henning Skallebaek, they have become the go-to poultry supplier for some of Australia's most influential chefs too.
We're farming around not too far from Melbourne. We got a number of farms where we do our chickens and our ducks. So we go into Gippsland, Mornington Peninsula, Bellarine Peninsula, northwest of Melbourne. So nothing more than probably about an hour's drive or so from our processing plant. I grew up on a farm in Denmark. My dad actually had some chickens for eggs, but the thing I remember most was his strawberries, which was absolutely amazing. And I remember always for my birthday, was in June. He was out always trying to find at least one red strawberry for me, but that was always fun. But sometimes it was difficult. Summer doesn't come early in Denmark. When I was finishing school, I actually wanted to get into the police force, but you had to be 21 in Denmark, so I thought what do I do instead? So I started a chef apprenticeship. So I'm a qualified chef, and did that in Denmark, and then spent some time in Switzerland and England, and also on a boat up in Greenland. And it was actually in Switzerland I met my current partner a long time ago, and I came out here to Australia in '94 just to visit her, and been a long visit. So yeah, and then starting a young family, the hospitality industry, as you know, is very difficult, and she was a chef too, so I decided to do something else and did a IT course and worked in IT for a number of years with Telstra. And that was in the city, and really want to get out of the city. In the meantime, we bought a small chicken farm, growing free-range chicken for Bayada. And I thought, traveling into the city every day would start getting a little bit too much. And so I started looking and ended up buying a duck farm. My involvement started in 2010. It was previous with my two business partners. They run it for a while, but then stopped for a few years, and then I got involved. It is just to restrict the requirements here in Australia is very different than overseas. So they struggle a little bit to get everything in 100% as have to be with you, quality control and everything like that. I got involved, and we got that up and running in 2010 again, and which was we've been growing ever since, and which is fantastic.
As Henning explains, Aurum produce an amazing array of poultry.
So I'm coming from the duck background, and so we have picking ducks. We hatch them ourselves, and we grow them up to 7 weeks, unlike the main producer, which is just over 5 weeks. We feed them with corn, which is just giving that beautiful color and flavor. The meat is like deep red instead of light red. Then we also grow a cocker Campbell. We mainly grow that for our egg production. We do a lot of eggs, which I'll talk to you about later. And but the cocker Campbell is a lot smaller duck. It's a leaner, and it's a different flavour. It's got a bit more sweetness to the flavour. Some will say it's a bit more gamey. The Chinese like that a lot. So we do that, and occasionally we manage to get some Muscovy ducks in as well. We don't grow any ourselves. Still looking for another farm to be able to do that, but that's hard to find at the moment. And then with the duck eggs, we produce a lot of duck eggs. We sell some fresh and some that's processed into century egg and salted egg. And the century egg, there's a lot imported into Australia from China, and unfortunately a lot of them have lead in their processing, and we work with MIT in relation to create a century egg without that. And that is absolutely amazing. It's really good. So yeah. And then with the chickens, we do the cockerel, which is it's from the layer strain instead of the meat strain. So it's a lot smaller bird. It's about 2 kilo when we process it, and it's about 15 weeks old. So it's very slow growing. And then we do the female as well, the pullets, and she is about 17 weeks old and only about 1.6 kilo. So they're slow growing, they take a long time, and therefore they cost a lot more to produce as well. We have one grower that grows the silky chickens for us, and they are, especially coming into winter now, very, very popular in the Chinese cuisine. They use them more for medical person than for eating. So I'm not actually sure what the medical advantage is with them, but they absolutely love them. We also do some squab pigeons, which is always popular, and we never have enough of them. And what else we do occasionally, we do quail. We actually start getting more and more quail, which is good. There's most of the quail that is sold here in Melbourne is frozen, but we are able to come out with fresh products, which is really good, and straight away we see the sales is growing that way.
Life for the ducks and chickens is a little different, but everything is set up to give them a great life and produce the best meat too.
Open span sheds, various sizes, some from just a few thousand chickens to maybe up to 15, 20,000 in the bigger sheds. They arrive there a day old. There's fresh shavings in the shed, and in a smaller area of the shed, we create a brooding area where we keep around 32, 33 degrees for a good week. And then we start decreasing that slowly down a little bit every day until they don't need the heat anymore. With the chickens, that's about 3 to 4 weeks with these ones, and the ducks, there's only 12 days. And then in the sheds, they have plenty of feed and water, and we have fans going to get a good airflow. Airflow is important to keep the litter dry, and also because if the litter gets a bit wet, then you start getting a bad, you get ammonia, and then that starts decreasing the growth of the birds and the welfare of the birds. So fresh air in the shed is really, really important, both for the ducks and the chickens. They're very different. I remember with the chickens, especially with the meat chicken, they're very much programmed to just eat and drink. And I remember when we converted our chicken farm from just normal broiler chicken to free range, after 3 weeks we opened up the sheds, and we were thinking that, they're just going to run out. And towards the end of the day, there was a couple of chickens out there. So Kate and I, we went out there and started pushing them out because we want to take some pictures of them, but they didn't want to go out. They only want to come out if it's really nice weather. So, whereas with the ducks, you open the sheds and the sheds is empty in 10 minutes. They just rush out. So it's very, very different and ducks you can herd as well. So, and the chickens were easy enough to get in. You just need to start the feeder pans, and straight away they were there. But the ducks, they just love to be outside. So yeah. So it's a bit different. They both have their charms, that's for sure.
The feed is imperative to the end product, and at Aurum they have interesting diets for each type of bird to get the best end result.
With the ducks, we add corn to our feed, which give them a little bit of colour in the skin, and also it's what makes the flavour, I think, it's more rich, and also the colour of the meat is a lot darker. So, and look, most of the chefs, they love that. So with the chickens, one of the main thing being our chickens is 95% going into the Asian market. They really love that yellow skin. So we're adding marigold to our feed, which helps give them that yellow color. And especially when they're steamed, that color just come out absolutely beautiful.
Although Aurum's market has traditionally been in Asian restaurants, more recently Western restaurants are seeing the versatility of their poultry.
The main markets for our chickens are mainly the Asian butcher shop and restaurants here in Melbourne, and also Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane, Tasmania, pretty much all over the country. We're sending them, but that's certainly the biggest market for that. We are starting getting a bit of take up into the Western market, which is fantastic, and Kenneth, he's been working hard on that, and like Jacques Mong, he's saying that it's just like the chicken he used to have back in Brest, which I think is kudos to our chicken and to our farmers. They're doing a fantastic job. Our ducks mainly a fair bit go into the Asian, but the Western restaurants is our biggest market there.
As Henning explains, the birds are bred so beautifully that simple cooking methods allow the birds to shine.
With the duck, look, I love cooking duck because it's so versatile, but I'll probably say my favorite is just take a whole duck, rub it with salt, and pop it in the smoker and sit there and just smell that beautiful smoke, and with a beer or a glass of wine, and then when it's done, you just peel it off the bone and just eat it like that. That's just amazing. That's one of my favorites. With the chicken, I have to admit, I don't cook a lot of that chicken. I don't cook mock chicken, full stop. But I do like cook it the Hainan chicken style, which is, I just think is that our chicken is just perfect for that.
With a huge take-up in fresh product, Henning sees an opportunity to expand their offering.
One of the things that we really want to do is start creating some ready-to-cook or ready-to-eat dishes, and we're working with a number of chefs for that, especially the Hainan chicken, which I think is one of the dishes that most non-Asian know anyway. And it's certainly one of the things we would like to get out in the supermarkets. And so, like one we're working on now, it'll come in a bag, not cooked, and you just pop it in your rice cooker for half an hour, and there you got your Hainan chicken. How good is that?
For Henning, it's not about volume. What matters is the quality of the birds and the connections fostered with small farmers.
It's the pleasure of being able to help the farmers that otherwise would probably not have much farming to do, because the farmers we're using, most of them are previous broiler farmers for one of the bigger ones, and they just got too small because the big ones, there is all economy of scale. Because we're running smaller number of birds, we don't actually want those huge big sheds with 50,000 birds in. So we're really happy to be able to pick them up and help them, and they help us. So I think that it's a fantastic partnership, and we make sure that they're looked after because they look after us every day. Just coming into work and everyone's give you a smile, that's really a good thing. I really like that.
Aurum Poultry is an amazing success story for specific and rare poultry breeds, that are not commonly found in the retail market. This is The Producers, a Deep in the Weeds production. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we share the stories of producers, farmers, makers, and growers, the true lifeblood of the food industry. Follow us on Instagram at Producers Podcast or email us at producerspodcast@deepintheweeds.com.au.